It's a wholesale restoration of a 152-year-old historic park. It's the oldest park in the city of Plymouth, and one of the first in the whole of the southwest region. Back in 2005, which is when the project began, Devonport Park was in a very sorry state. It was a focus for antisocial behaviour, drug taking, alcohol abuse.
The bulk of the funding for the project was from the Heritage Lottery Fund, and that has been match funded by Plymouth City Council and the Devonport Regeneration Community Partnership. The Friends of Devonport Park, Devonport Regeneration Community Partnership, they've all been involved in the overall project. The Friends of Devonport Park was set up to help with that bid.
The project coincided with the Devonport Regeneration programme when there was an awful lot of rebuilding taking place in Devonport. We felt it was important that these new households had access to a quality open space. We restored the original park lodge back for park keepers' accommodation. We've built a new multi-purpose children's playground. We've completed a new park pavilion, which is a multifunctional space incorporating a cafe, toilets, changing rooms and a community meeting space.
The roof is made of cedar, which holds the moisture in. On top of that we have a solar panel which powers all our underfloor heating, so it's quite eco-friendly, the building. All our training was undertaken by Devonport Regeneration Community Partnerships. All my staff was put on their health and hygiene courses and first aid courses. We've also received various grants from the DRCP, start-up grants, security grants. We can now do functions from in the park, accommodate for the dog walkers, the cyclists, and there hasn't been a public toilet in the park for about 20 years, so that's going down quite well.
There are 3 listed buildings in the park. There's Park Lodge, HMS Doris Gun and the War Memorial, and all 3 of these have been restored during the last 3 years. Got the Friends group going within the first few months of starting because we didn't do any work until we got a community group established to work with us in partnership on the project. We worked with them over the last 4 or 5 years on training them up to fundraise, hold events in the park, and basically recreate the park as the People's Park, which is what it used to be termed in the 1890s.
I became a volunteer really just to help out in the park and help the others who were working there already just to improve it and sort of work with the gardening as well, you know, because I enjoy gardening.
We wanted to sort of put in place a friends group that was going to be here for the long term really. It's all very well spending vast amounts of capital money on the project. But really at the end of the day the friends are there to make sure that the park doesn't decline again.
My role is to come up on a Monday when the friends are here, and basically what I do is I actually use the 36 years of experience that I've got in horticulture to act as a kind of mentor and to help advise the friends on horticultural matters. So if they want to know what the correct time to prune something is, then that's what my role is.
I started as a volunteer about a year ago, and I've also done the course, the NVQ in horticulture.
I've got the basic qualification level 1, which I was actually nervous about because I've got learning problems, so you know, dyslexia and things, so I was actually grateful that it was mostly practical.
More recently, with the pavilion being built and the staff being taken on by Martin and Shelley Stevens, they were able to access training courses more specific to their needs around the rather complicated machinery that's in there, to food hygiene and first aid. There's been a variety of courses that the staff have been able to access. And the joy of it is most of the staff that are working in there are all local residents here as well. The
Friends put on events usually 3 times a year if we can.
Summer event is the main one. We do it most summers. We hadn't had one this year though. And then we sort of have things for the Remembrance Sunday, or we have music in the park on 1 September when we just had music and teas and things, and people sat around on the grass and listened, which was lovely.
It's a meeting place. That's what makes the park so important. You know, it's the biggest green space we've got in this area, and it's right in the centre of several communities, Stoke, Devonport, Morristown, etc. It's an ideal place for the communities to meet.
we are producing an open space that people are increasingly visiting and also showing satisfaction with. We've had an 83% increase in use of the park in the last 4 years.
It's opened up a lot of areas that were very enclosed and people were frightened to go into before, so it's made it a much safer environment, and that's what really counts.
The park was lovely, but it was a little bit sad and sort of unloved, and now I think the improvements have been fine and sort of tasteful, shall we say, and it's just given people a new lease of life almost for coming here. And people say, oh, we come here now because it's much the loveliest park in Plymouth.
The work that's gone on within the park has vastly affected local people, both those that live around the park, but also those that walk their dogs here, those that bring their families into play.
I think it's really important that the park kind of brings the cohesion of the whole neighbourhood, really.